What if I told you that some of the biggest declarations of love in 90 Day Fiancé history weren't just romantic, they were desperate? That the words that made millions of viewers cry were sometimes spoken in fear, sometimes in guilt, and sometimes because everything was about to fall apart. Because when someone says, "I would give up everything for you," on national television, you have to ask yourself, what were they trying to protect? Over the years, we've watched couples cross oceans, abandon families, drain savings accounts, and risk deportation for love. We've seen airport proposals, tearful vows, dramatic ultimatums, and speeches that felt like they came straight out of a movie. But here's the part nobody was ready for: sometimes the louder the declaration, the deeper the crack underneath it. And I know what you're thinking. This is 90 Day Fiancé. Of course it's dramatic. Of course people exaggerate. But stay with me, because when you go back and really listen to those big, "I love you more than anything" moments, something feels different. If you're the kind of viewer who rewatches scenes and wonders what TLC didn't show, you're in the right place. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we're not just watching these love stories, we're reading between the lines. Let's start with one of the most unforgettable declarations ever spoken on this franchise. A man standing in front of his partner's family, sweating, nervous, with cameras inches from his face, saying he would sacrifice his country, his comfort, his pride, just to prove his love. It felt heroic. It felt cinematic. But this is where everything quietly fell apart. Behind that speech was a bank account running low. Behind that promise was a partner who had already sent thousands of dollars overseas. Behind those tears was immigration pressure ticking like a clock you can't silence. Love sounds different when a visa is involved. We've seen it again and again. A woman promising to leave her children behind, just for a while, because her soulmate is waiting across the world. A man promising to support a partner who has never worked, saying, "I'll figure it out. I'll do whatever it takes." Whatever it takes. Those words hit hard. They make great TV. They make you believe in something bigger than logistics. But here's what the cameras don't always focus on: the resentment that grows in silence. Because when someone says they'll do anything for love, what happens 6 months later when anything becomes exhausting? Social media doesn't forget. The moment those episodes air, TikTok stitches start popping up. "Did you see his face when she said that?" Reddit threads explode. "He looked trapped." Twitter lights up with fans arguing, "That's real love." And others firing back, "No, that's manipulation." And that's where it gets messy. Take the airport declarations. The classic run and hug moment. "I can't live without you." It's beautiful. It's powerful. It makes even the coldest viewer tear up. But pause the frame. Look at the hesitation before the hug. Look at the forced smile when family members are watching. Look at the financial imbalance that never gets fully addressed. I'm not saying these people don't love each other. I'm saying sometimes love isn't the only thing in the room. One of the biggest declarations that shook fans was when a cast member publicly chose their partner over their own children. Remember that? The speech about destiny, about soulmates, about how this person saved them. It sounded romantic, but the internet was ruthless. You don't abandon your kids for a soulmate. This isn't love, it's obsession. He's rewriting history to justify his choice. And maybe that's the real pattern here. The biggest declarations often happen when someone is trying to convince not just their partner, but themselves. Because when your family is skeptical, when your friends are whispering, when producers keep asking, "Are you sure?" you start talking louder, you say bigger things, you make promises that sound permanent. And that's when the audience leans forward. But here's the part nobody talks about. Some of the most emotional declarations came right before massive betrayals. A husband saying, "I would never hurt you," only for cheating rumors to surface months later. A fiancé sobbing, "You're my forever," while secretly messaging someone else. A partner claiming, "I don't care about money," while demanding expensive gifts and financial control behind the scenes. And that's when the truth finally slipped out. Because love on 90 Day Fiancé isn't just about feelings. It's about power. Who has the passport? Who has the money? Who has the leverage? Who needs who more? When someone declares undying love, you have to ask, who benefits from that statement? There was a moment during one tell-all when a cast member defended their partner through tears. Everyone thinks you're using me. I know the real you. The studio went quiet. It felt raw, protective, loyal. But later, off-camera interviews hinted at arguments we never saw. Financial disputes, ultimatums, emotional manipulation that didn't make the final edit. This is where the mid-story twist hits. Sometimes TLC frames the declaration as the climax of the episode, but in reality, it's the beginning of the downfall. Think about how often we've seen this pattern. A huge romantic gesture, a proposal under fireworks, a dramatic vow renewal, a speech about fighting the world together. Then, distance, silence, cryptic Instagram captions. Fans start noticing they've stopped posting together. Comments fill with questions. Are you still married? Why did you delete the photos? And suddenly, that giant declaration feels fragile. I know what you're thinking. Some couples actually made it. Some are still together. And you're right, not every declaration is fake. Not every promise collapses. But here's the emotional layer that hurts the most. Even when the love is real, the pressure of proving it publicly can destroy it. Imagine having to perform your devotion on camera. Imagine producers asking you to repeat your vows because the audio wasn't clear. Imagine millions of strangers debating whether your tears were genuine. How do you survive that? There was one cast member who said, "I love you more than my own life." That line trended everywhere. It was clipped, shared, replayed. Romantic. Yes. Healthy. That's where viewers were divided. Reddit threads turned into therapy sessions. No one should love someone more than themselves. That's trauma bonding. That's codependency. And yet, when you watched the scene, you felt it. You believed it. Because pain recognizes pain. These declarations don't come from nowhere. They come from loneliness. From failed marriages, from financial insecurity, from the fear of aging alone, from immigration deadlines, from cultural isolation. When someone says, "You're my only chance at happiness," it's not just a compliment. It's a confession, and that's heavy. But here's the most devastating layer of all. Some of the biggest declarations were said right before someone left, right before a breakup announcement, right before divorce papers, right before a cheating scandal exploded online. And when fans rewatched those old episodes, the words sounded different. "I'll never walk away." But they did. "I trust you completely." They shouldn't have. "I would die without you." They didn't. And that shift, that hindsight, is what makes these moments so haunting. Because love declared on reality TV lives forever. Even if the relationship doesn't. There was a couple who fought constantly. Cultural clashes, jealousy, money stress, family interference. But during one emotional scene, one of them broke down and said, "No matter what, I choose you." Every time. It was beautiful. It felt like redemption. Fans flooded social media with support. This is growth. This is real commitment. But here's what TLC barely showed. Behind the scenes, they were already living separately. Production had to schedule scenes carefully. Friends knew things weren't okay. That declaration wasn't a promise. It was a last attempt. And that's when you realize, sometimes the biggest declarations aren't about love at all. They're about fear of losing the storyline. Fear of public embarrassment. Fear of admitting you were wrong. Or maybe, just maybe, they're about hope. The desperate kind. The kind where you say something so powerful that you're praying it becomes true. Let me ask you something. If you were under that kind of pressure, cameras in your face, your relationship being judged by millions, would you say something dramatic just to hold everything together? Would you promise forever even if you weren't sure? Because the truth is, 90 Day Fiancé doesn't just capture love. It magnifies it. It stretches it. It exposes every insecurity. And when someone stands there and declares, "You are my world," we want to believe them. We need to believe them. But here's the part nobody was ready for. The biggest declarations of love in 90 Day Fiancé history weren't the airport speeches. They weren't the proposal monologues. They weren't the tell-all defenses. They were the quiet moments. The ones without music. The ones without dramatic editing. The small, shaky, I'm scared, but I'm here. Those moments don't trend on TikTok. They don't become viral soundbites. But they feel real, because real love doesn't always shout. And that's what makes the loud declarations so complicated. Sometimes they're genuine. Sometimes they're performative. Sometimes they're both. And that tension is why we can't stop watching. So now I want to know where you stand. When someone on 90 Day Fiancé makes a massive declaration of love, do you believe them? Or do you see it as a red flag? Is it passion, or pressure? Is it devotion, or desperation? Because the next time you hear someone say, I would give up everything for you, listen closely. Not just to the words, but to what might be hiding underneath them. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real love story TLC never fully explained.